Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Here with my buddy Jon Tran.
What's going on?
I think we had a football game tonight, man.
I think so.
Just wanted to break some things down. I think we were playing a SEC team. Mm-hmm. Much discussed.
Big boy football, right?
Big boy football, SEC speed, the whole nine, guys. We've been talking about it on this channel. Here at Fanatic Perspective, Texas and Georgia. Much discussion in the national media about Georgia deserving a playoff spot. Mm-hmm. Hey, Georgia might be one of the best football teams in the country outside of the vaunted Alabama Crimson Tide, according to Paul Feinbaum, many others in the media. People got to stand accountable today, John. And you know what, guys? As a Texas fan, this game was about respect. Mm-hmm. This game was about building your program, revitalizing this fan base. And this fan base has been revitalized, Big 12 appearance, all that, right? But even amongst our Texas fans, there were so many people that didn't believe that we could do this. Yep. And for us to show up and win, and not just win, but win in the manner, and the physicality, and the athleticism we displayed tonight, I couldn't be prouder of this football team.
And who started it off?
Bevo! Hey, Ugga, pull up. Pull up. Hey, Bevo rolled up on Ugga like he owed him money. Mm-hmm. I mean, but it set the tone. It set the tone. And, I told y'all on this channel, and I'm going to gloat. I was right. I told y'all how this thing was going to play out. Did I think we would be as physical and punch him in the face the way we did? No. I did think we'd win this football game, and I did think we were physical enough to compete with Georgia. But I'm a gloat. I mean, we argued with so many of these people on this channel, the Georgia fans, and there were a lot of cool Georgia fans that we had great football conversations with, and very thankful for those guys, and hopefully we can continue these conversations. But there were other arrogant fans, your typical SEC person that we all hate, that pulls up on the channel and says, we're going to win 48-17. We're going to win 41-17.
We're going to skunk you guys.
We're going to skunk you guys. Yeah. Georgia by 21, Georgia by 1,000,000. You guys aren't used to physicality and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Not only do we win our football game, we won 28-21 tonight, 3-1 against the SEC, the Big 12. So we represented for our conference. And I just want to get your thoughts, how you're feeling after the Sugar Bowl victory. Your boy Sam Ehlinger, most outstanding player, set the tone in terms of the players tonight.
His stat line wasn't great, but the toughness that he showed. I think one of the quotes from Jake Fromm says, he wouldn't be doing that in our league. And he may be right, over a 8-game season, but he was tough enough to do it against your defense,
but I'm even going to refute that. Didn't we see Tim Tebow? And they kept comparing Sam Ehlinger and Tim Tebow, and those of us who have watched this Texas football team, we do see the similarities in terms of play style. I do think he just naturally throws the football better than Tebow did. But
he's better.
In terms of the leadership, when he gets compared to that, it's in terms of his body build, leadership, what he's able to do in the quarterback run game from a power and strength perspective. We saw Tim Tebow do this in the SEC. So I don't want to hear about, he wouldn't be able. Yeah, it would be a little bit different in that conference. But we saw Tim Tebow finish as one of the greatest collegiate quarterbacks we've ever seen, one of the most decorated college athletes we've ever seen playing that exact same style. Look, football is a very simple game sometimes. And you said it when we were talking before the game started. You said at the end of the day, it's just athlete versus athlete and who shows up tonight.
Yeah, so this whole... Georgia fans, don't get down or anything like that. You're a terrific team.
Terrific program, terrific football. And they're going to be one of the favorites going into next season.
Absolutely. And the SEC is a great conference. It's just that, it's a little bit overhyped. It's, if you play a different team, different type of defense or offense or a total different team, you may run into issues over a 6-game period. Essentially it comes down to it. This is just one game. It was a great win for Texas, essentially for recruiting, just national prominence.
I do want to get into some of the reasons why this is a great win for Texas as we break down this game. I don't want to hear excuses though from Georgia fans.
No.
And because you could already see some folks that we were talking to starting to hedge their bet. Hey, Georgia's going to smoke y'all. But if we don't show up or if we don't look good, then that means we were asleep or we weren't ready to play. Look, here's what I don't want to hear out of this football game other than GG, good game, keep it moving. I don't want to hear we weren't motivated. Y'all talked all that mess. Y'all brought all that energy on Twitter when Notre Dame lost, when Oklahoma lost, and y'all were all those I'm talking about players too. All that energy about how they should have been in there. There's your motivation. We saw TCU, and I brought this up while we were watching the game. We saw TCU, I think it was the first year of the playoffs when Ohio State, TCU was at 3 the whole season, even after they lost to Baylor. They got jumped at the last week, and they didn't even lose. I think they had shut out Iowa State or somebody. They got jumped by Ohio State when Ohio State had that explosive win against Wisconsin.
And that's why the Big 12
initiated the championship game. But did TCU pout that year?
Nope.
Did they take their ball and go home and say, we're not motivated, we're not going to play in this other? No, they showed up in the same bowl, in the Sugar Bowl, and they destroyed Ole Miss. I think that was a 41-3 game or 44-3, something like that.
40s, I know.
Yeah, so that's the energy I was looking to see from Georgia. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear we weren't motivated. I don't want to hear we didn't care about this game. Okay, because when we went for it on 4th and goal, and Georgia defense was doing a hell of a job bowing up against the best play we block and call all year, quarterback power, and they bowed up. Those kids did not look like they didn't care.
Yep,
they were trying to get a stop. Did Georgia look like they didn't care at the end of the game when they were doing everything in their power to get back?
Yep.
And to Kirby Smart and his staff's credit, they fought and continued to compete. They didn't lay down after they got down 28-7 at the beginning of the 4th quarter. So I don't want to hear they didn't care. And I don't want to hear about guys being out. I know Walker, couldn't fire it up for the game today. I know DeAndre Baker, I made the video and we've had a lot of commentary about DeAndre Baker not playing. Not an excuse. As I recall, we played a SEC team last year in Missouri, and we had a slew of guys sit out for the draft.
Yep, and we smoked them.
Yes.
We smoked, what was it, 33-16?
It was 33-16 or something like that. So I don't want, it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. If you put them where I come from, you put pads on and you show up to play and you got your Gatorade, you got your staff, you got your training staff there. You got to play football, man.
You got to look at it this way. You're in a primetime game against a primetime program.
Primetime bowl.
You need to trust me. Every team gets up to play Texas. Everyone wants to beat Texas. It's as simple as that. If
you don't get up, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, yeah, you're good.
If you don't get up, then I question the competitiveness in your program. Because real good programs show up to compete no matter what. And prove your point.
Perfect segue too to one of our calls was that our coaching staff is going to be.
Yeah, we got a lot of heat about the coaching staff.
Yeah, and look at that. Tom Herman had our team prep to beat you guys. Kirby Smart did not.
That was one of the reasons why I felt good about this game, because anybody that's watched this was a Tom Herman special tonight. We've seen this time and time again, guys.
Aside from the onside kick.
We got, the defense, Todd Orlando, PJ Locke, credit PJ Locke in this senior class for having a remarkable game. But they bailed him out on that bad decision, right? And look, he was just caution to the wind. That's how he coaches in big games. Yep. I like it. Our issue with Tom Herman has been the up and down of the competition. Yeah. But again, those of you who are coming on, first of all, those of you talking about us getting blown out, nobody's really blown out Texas in a while. No. So if you're saying that, you really haven't paid attention to how competitive we've been. Now, we've lost some close games over the years, but that's not because of lack of talent. That's because of lack of consistency in our program. But Tom Herman, his record in big games, his record as an underdog when he's been a head coach is remarkable. Showed it off again tonight. Georgia also was very predictable offensively, in my opinion. We noticed very early in the game, anytime it was 2nd and 10, 2nd and long, they were doing either doing quick draw some variation of outside zone, and they ran that consistently. They almost handled Jake Fromm, who I said I was a fan of before the game, and I still am. They handled him with kid gloves. Basically, we're gonna do the run pass, and some of it I think it was arrogance. Like, we should be able to run because we're playing a Big 12 defense, and we should be able to run through them instead of adjusting earlier to maybe running tempo and trying something different. And I felt like Georgia's coaching staff was running their team into a wall. I couldn't understand why they wouldn't take the gloves off of Jake Fromm. Now, Jake Fromm missed some throws today. He had some opportunities out of play action when they did get some things established. And I'm not sure what was off with him, other than I think Todd Orlando and Minihue and a lot of the guys that were blitzing.
We did a good job of pressure.
We did a good, and I think we got him rattled because it was uncomfortable for him. But this narrative that, we were idiots and we didn't know what we were talking about.
We don't understand the SEC.
Right. We watch a lot of SEC football. You got recruited by Florida coming out of high school. Like, I grew up watching SEC ball.
He's East Coast as well.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those. So this, I would say y'all didn't watch Texas close enough. And I'm being as contrite as I can with that. I want to talk about this senior class. They start off, when I talk about the senior class, I'm talking about the guys that were left over from the 2014 that redshirted, as well as the 2015 guys. So many of them that we can just rattle off names. To start where they started and to finish where they finished tonight.
9 day.
I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of the impact that they've finished and left on this program and printed on the program. It even started with the guys that left early last year. But just their focus on trying to get us back.
You saw a couple of them on the sideline.
Yeah, we saw Holden Hill on the sideline tonight and some other guys. So I just want to talk about those guys across the board. Chris Nelson.
Phenomenal. He was great this game.
Well, I think we played 9 different defensive linemen tonight. But again, a captain. Well-deserved.
Minihue made himself money.
Because now he has that tape against the SEC offensive line. And Georgia's offensive line is fantastic. Yeah. There were switches that they picked up that nobody in the Big 12 had picked up.
I mean, they averaged 250 yards rushing. I mean, but they're great offense.
But this, again, the narrative of we're not, because we play in the Big 12, we don't have the guys up front. That is nonsense. Charles Omenihu, first of all, look at the dudes that are in the league right now from Texas. What Poona Ford is doing.
So can I interject on that?
Go ahead.
People saying that our athletes aren't SEC ready. You guys don't watch the recruiting, because if you look at our whole defense, all of them had SEC offers.
Caden certainly didn't play, but he was at LSU.
I mean, he was committed to LSU.
Yeah.
Brandon Jones at A&M, they did a recruiting videos. Omenihu actually was thinking late in his recruitment of going to Alabama, but he decided to stay with Texas.
Gary Johnson as well, even coming out of the JUCO side.
Chris Nelson's from South Carolina, right?
So, he was committed to Louisville, but that was
but he's from South Carolina, so that's SEC territory.
But look, these seniors, these guys today, just going best on best. They played so well. We look at even Breckenhager at times. I know he didn't have a huge impact on the game, but just not keeping contained. Letting guys, playing with your teammates. PJ Locke getting a turnover day. Having the career that he's had so up and down, but finishing on a positive. Chris Boyd. I know Devontae Davis he got kicked out on some BS in my opinion, but and I'm glad Tom Herman went and showed his appreciation for him and his career. But a lot of these guys, man, even on the offensive line,
he had a great breakup too. Devontae.
Oh Davis, on a deep ball. Yeah, I also want to recognize guys on the offensive line, man. Patrick Vahe, Elijah Rodriguez, Calvin Anderson coming in late. Real leadership, them bowing up to the challenge of that physical nature. And I will say this, if you've paid attention to Texas football all year, what I loved about today was we did us. We started the game off. Our patented, we don't get big plays. We do our 10-play, 75-yard drive, touchdown on quarterback power. That's what we've done all year. That's why we've been successful. That's why we were in the Big 12 championship game.
And I think if we had that option, if you use healthy, it would probably be a different outcome.
You mean for the Big 12
Yeah,
championship?
if Sam Ehlinger
Because he was healthier today. We couldn't even run that play in the Big 12 championship. Yeah, we ran it 3 times.
Yeah.
So that's the bread and butter of our offense. And people say, "Oh, it's weird that you guys get leadership from the quarterback." I saw an argument on ESPN with Jonathan Vilma and a couple other guys because he's SEC. I don't know why. I know he's a Miami guy, but he's a SEC writer. And he was like, what do you mean you guys get toughness from your quarterback run? I was like, dude, you haven't watched us. Yeah. When you're making comments like that and stuff, and I get, look, Georgia defended it as well as anybody because they really only had 6 people in the box and they were still able to hold it at bay for most of the game. But the fact that we almost ran for 200 yards today, Trey Watson, I think 18 carries for 91 yards, averaging 5 yards a pop.
He outrushed their whole team.
Outrushing their entire team. Mm-hmm. We talk so much about Swift. Swift didn't want that smoke tonight, by the way, because he fumbled one of them where he
fumbled twice.
But there was one of them where he didn't even get hit. Like he anticipated BJ Foster, who is on. He is BJ Foster is on the path to. He's on the path to greatness.
Yeah,
that's going to be our safeties. You look at Brandon Jones, who I hope he decides to come back, but Caden Stearns didn't play tonight.
Yeah.
BJ Foster was remarkable in the pass game. He was able to cover deep balls, but he's also one of our best blitzers. Just a freaking football player, man. I also want to give credit to Todd Orlando. I thought he did a great job on the 3rd and longs for the most part. There was somewhere he guessed wrong.
I think the play of the game was that blitz where they were in scoring position. We knocked them out of a field goal position. I think that was honestly the play of the game.
And who made the sack? Anthony Wheeler. Mm-hmm. Another one where I was correct. I told you guys this was a game that fits his skill set. We have guys on this team who haven't had the best, who haven't gotten the most snaps or gotten the most opportunities because of the nature of the teams we play in our conference. Sometimes you see these guys ball out against the Kansas States and the Iowa States because they play a little bit more like we saw with Georgia today. But when we play Oklahoma State or Texas Tech, they're not, like Gerald Wilbon.
Schematically, they're run
they can't. They're the run stop.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Wheeler today, though, this was a game where he could shine. It was going to be more straight, and he shined. Yeah. And he played exactly how I thought he would. I know my team, and I know how these guys fit in. Taquan Graham is another one who forced the early fumble today. Just all these guys. Seeing Coburn in there. Joseph Osai, who was a guy we told y'all, expect to see a lot of him. Expect to see some of these guys being mixed in. He was fantastic today.
Coburn made a play that's really refreshing to me because it shows the type of transition the team's going in, is that he was being blocked and he dove for the legs, and he made that effort play.
Yes,
we haven't been seeing in previous seasons, and those effort plays, that's a lot of the times the difference between winning and losing. Mm-hmm. And if we're seeing a young kid like that start setting precedents like that, I think the trajectory of this team is just going to go up.
And I'm glad to, because next year I think our second game after, because I think we open with Louisiana Tech, and then our second game is LSU. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see another opponent similar to the physical nature and just the athletes we saw today. But it was good to level up with Georgia just to see where we're at. And look, you got to give credit to Georgia too. They were mixing in some guys, the Tyson Campbells of the world, and some guys that were highly recruited. It was the other guy that they had that tore his ACL that they were playing at corner, who they were trying to get a look at. So this is a team that we may be back a year from now dealing with them, right? And so, Georgia fans, overall, you have nothing to really be ashamed of because your team is fantastic. Yeah. They're going to be there in the mix next season. I just don't want to hear the excuses. That's all I'm saying. And those of you know who you are that came on and talked a whole bunch of mess, right? We actually have a little bit of a roll call here. We have Braxton Lawson 4 days ago said Dogs by 21 plus.
Maybe he's talking about their final score.
Adam Joseph here 16 hours ago actually commented and said it's hard to figure out if all these Texas fans actually think they have a shot to hang with Georgia or if they're just trolling. It's just keep that same energy, please. Towards towards these non-SEC teams and whatnot. And look, SEC, as Sam Ehlinger said, is a fantastic conference. I'm not saying
I love the way he handled
you
that.
know we play football too, and we can be physical too. And look, when you play against us, you got to score. These Big 12 teams, it goes hand in hand, right? And like you said, it's sports. Ricky Williams said that today in the LHM portion. It's sports, man.
And we both said that these teams are actually pretty similar when it broke down to it. And people think that we're just a spread offense. No, we're actually pretty much smash mouth.
Smash mouth, man.
We want to run the ball.
That's again going to Tom Herman's thing. I think what throws people off is when they see our losses and the nature of how we lost some of these games. Look, the Maryland thing is going to throw people off, but I also want to say
game of the season.
It is, but it's still inexcusable because it happened twice.
Yeah,
but what throws people off is we're not the same team from that game.
Not. That's what I'm saying. It's the first.
But the thing is like we had a lot of Georgia fans coming on saying how much they grew from the LSU game. Right? It's the same thing. We grew from our Maryland loss, mistakes, taking them for granted 2 years in a row, getting smacked in the mouth, quite frankly. But Tom Herman has said how we recruit, how we'll battle, how we'll practice. He preaches physicality. He preaches finishing. He preaches when we get in the fourth quarter, when we get late in the games, we're going to finish. We play a lot of close games. And a lot of portions of this game wasn't very competitive at times. And Georgia made it close, and they battled, and they did what they had to do to at least give themselves a shot on the onside kick. Yeah. Some of it through our own stupidity. Yeah. But, you know, Tom Herman has preached that, and that's something that will get us, I think, ultimately into the conversation. Because right now, it's two teams and everybody else.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
All right? It's Alabama, Clemson, everybody else. So I know we've had fun with the conference thing and all that, but really it's all a wash because it's two teams. And everybody else is chasing. We're not there yet.
Nope.
But based upon this performance tonight, Georgia's not there yet either. They're close. Yeah. But they don't have any rings to speak of recently.
Nope.
And we don't either recently. Yeah. We're all in the same boat. We're all chasing Clemson and Alabama. I just, you know, where do you want to finish off? Because, I mean, honestly, I'm just proud of our team tonight, man.
I am. I was proud of the way we won. I wasn't proud of the way we were handling ourselves down the stretch, like you were saying. I mean, we basically gift wrapped another touchdown to them, but and all four phases of the game, I think we won. And
absolutely. I have one last thing I want to bring up. Sam Ehlinger, because I think he is going to be in the conversation with the short list going into next season about Heisman guys. I think this could be the game, and I know it's not as crazy and statistically as a game, but I think there's a lot of similarities to what we're seeing in Sam Ehlinger and what we saw with Vince Young in 2004. If you guys remember, we played a very, very good Michigan team in the Rose Bowl. Vince Young basically had his super breakout moment. He went nuts, wins the Rose Bowl MVP. Sam Ehlinger didn't have that type of performance today, but he was the most outstanding player, although Bevo was the most valuable player. But Sam Ehlinger had that, Vince Young had that moment where he propelled that momentum into the 2005 season, which ultimately became our national championship season. Do you think Sam Ehlinger could parlay that energy and that? Because I see that same type of confidence and swagger that I saw with Vince.
So, to me, Vince kind of hated the media. To me, he didn't really want to talk to the media as much. I definitely see that swagger, and honestly, I think he's more of a polished passer at this point in his career than Vince. He's not the athlete that Vince was, but. Absolutely. The short answer is absolutely. And just the fact that he's willing to put in the work is just...
There's a lot of similarities, man. I mean, look, second week of the season, that year, going to 2005, we played Ohio State. This year, we're going to play LSU.
Who will be probably a top 10
Yeah,
team.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. They had a big win today against UCF in a crazy game where they were running out of people left and right. So, you know, there's a lot of similarities. You know, I think the national championship is in New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct us in the comments, but there's a lot of similarities there, and a lot of similarities just with how we've gotten back on board between even Mac Brown and what he did with some of those recruiting classes and what Tom Herman's been able to do. They deserve a heck of a lot of credit, man. A heck of a lot of credit. So you guys celebrate with us in the comments. I can't wait to hear what everyone thinks just coming out of this game. We will have some more videos, just big picture. What does this do for our program moving forward, as well as we still need to get Jon's thoughts on the recruiting class, and as we hear some other big announcements coming up over the next week or so. But man, I'm happy.
I'm happy that tower's lit right now.
So tower's lit, man. It is, dude. What a game. What a season to get back on track. And I am so... What better way to ring in the new year? Mm-hmm. What better way to ring in the new year? 1-0. Tom Herman preaches 1-0 in our program. We're 1-0 in 2019, man. I'll take it.
Always. Any win's a great win.
Horns always up.